What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Main Event Review. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode. Elimination Chamber has wrapped up, and it's safe to say that it was probably my worst predictions I've ever done, to be honest. I'll take it to the fact that I accidentally predicted the matches 2 weeks before the Chamber started. But otherwise, didn't really get them right. But we'll obviously go through the Elimination Chamber, give my review, my reactions. We obviously all know about the the reveal, of Danhausen, which, look, I think everyone knows that it was just a shit reveal. Quite disappointing. It was expected, as I sort of was like researching online. What could it be? Danhausen was the reveal. It's a bit of a shame. Again, another example of sort of Triple H in this era hyping things up and not delivering to what the hype was. And like I said, that's always been my issue. I try not to be obviously too negative because I genuinely do enjoy watching wrestling. I enjoy the content. I like talking about it as well. But I got to call that shit when shit's not right. And for this, I don't think it was right. I think, it's another example of him just hyping it up. That's all I can really say. It's like, for me, I prefer personally, I'd rather just you be quiet, not hype something up, so then we don't have our expectations through the roof and then just get shattered on. And I understand the point is to promote, and everything's about promoting and making things big so people are excited, but I think you need to give the same energy promoting as to what you're promoting, if that makes sense. But otherwise, we'll get to the matches. We'll get to what I think. It was an okay Elimination Chamber match. It's going to be very hard to sort of overcome and overtake what happened last year, especially with John Cena's heel turn. But there were some things I liked, and I'll go through that there. But first, it's a main event review, so we'll get through the two main event matches. Only two today, which is quite disappointing. We don't have a chance to review a third one. But we'll go through it. It is Angel from Los Garzas. That's her third appearance in a row on main event, taking on Rey Fenix here. So obviously, Berto was in the way a lot of times, a lot of distractions, and you thought Angel was going to sneak up a victory when he pulled the tights on Rey Fenix. And as soon as he kicked out, that's when I knew that Rey Fenix was going to get the match won. And he won by a frog splash, which is what I liked. It didn't have to always be the sort of Mexican destroyer or the Mexican bomb that Rey Fenix uses. It was something different. Not the Mexican destroyer. I think it's something else. I just forgot the name at the top of my head, but you know what I'm saying. Like, winning with another move is awesome, and the frog splash was what was enough to get this victory, and that gives Rey Fenix some potential WrestleMania hopes. Which, look, I don't know what's going to happen with him at the moment. He just seems like a backstage happy, sort of supportive character to the baby faces. Like, he's obviously supported Sami Zayn a few times, and he's gone on to these sort of like feuds that are not even big. So I've been saying it for a while. Penta's not doing much. Rey Fenix is not doing much. Put them up together and, give them a mad tag team run. I think that would be cool. Two brothers. You could do so much with that. And I think, obviously, they're great solos, but just seeing brothers together, there's something about it. Like, it'd be awesome. I don't know what Rey Fenix's road to WrestleMania would be. Unless something does pop up. I don't know. I don't really see what's going to happen with him. So maybe he'll do one more or two more United States challenges, open challenges, except that challenge against Carmella Hayes. But otherwise, his road to WrestleMania is looking quite grim. But, this match makes us feel as though that he might have a road, but we'll have to wait and see what they do on the main show for him. And a tag team that doesn't have any road to WrestleMania is Los Garzas. Like, let's be honest, they're not doing much at all. That's why they're on main event. And, there's not really much to say about them at the moment. Otherwise, like, we've seen them on SmackDown now in sort of backstage promos with R-Truth, and they're not even looking like heels. They're just doing advertisements. Like, it's just, it sucks for them. But I don't really know what else realistically they can do. So, they'll probably continue to be on main event. We'll continue reviewing them, and maybe they'll probably just jump on Triple R and do something there because, there isn't much for them. I don't know where Santos Escobar is. That might help inject some sort of momentum for him, but otherwise, not looking good. And then we have OTM, which are
the baby faces for once. Every time they've been on Main Event, they seem to be heels. Again, not really following what they're doing on NXT. But they take on the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers get the victory here with a nice superplex followed by a Brutus Creed moonsault. And OTM looked good. I think it might be time to sort of see them in the main show soon. Like, see what they're up about on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. Because, you know, they have power. They have athleticism. They seem like a bunch of massive characters. And, you know, the tag team division probably needs some fresh blood. So, who knows? We might see them down the line. Obviously, it is a showcase for them, an opportunity to get on live crowds, show what they're capable of. But the American Made was always going to win this one. Julius and Brutus Creed, who, like the Los Garzas, aren't doing anything to really to really propel themselves up to anything significant. So, I guess this is just another standard match for the main roster stars to get a victory and build sort of somewhat of momentum. But we're not seeing any of these guys at WrestleMania. OTM was just good to see them again. I've seen them a few times now, and they impress me. So I don't know much about them as characters because obviously there's no promo work, but in ring they're really good. So it's awesome. And the commentators do a really good job in sort of building them up and giving us a bit of a history for them. Both of them have really good NCAA runs doing wrestling, so that's something that was quite interesting to hear as well. But otherwise, those two matches were literally the only two matches on the main event. So that pretty much concludes that. So we'll get straight onto the chamber. As I said, wasn't the best Elimination Chamber. But we did start with the women's. And look, I love if I were able to give my predictions 2 days before the chamber started. Because as soon as I saw that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky drop the titles to Lash Legend, or the Irresistible Forces, now that they're called Lash Legend and Nia Jax, I could have easily just said that Rhea Ripley would have won it. It just would have made the most sense. They're looking for stardom. They're looking for massive power. I don't know what will happen with Io Sky, though, and that's something I'm very curious to know about. Maybe she takes on Asuka, because she definitely has to be on at WrestleMania. So maybe we just see Asuka and Io Sky with Kairi Sane getting involved, and maybe that triple dynamic gets involved. I don't know what else she'll do. But as for Rhea Ripley, she takes on and wins the Elimination Chamber. Shout out to Kiana James. There's always got to be one that takes the heavy spots and the hard hits. And Kiana James was the one that needed to make the biggest impression, given that she's obviously the one that hasn't really been doing much since her injury. But coming out, taking that massive spot from Raquel Rodriguez into the pod was quite impressive. And speaking of impressive, how good was Raquel Rodriguez with that double pin and just asserting her dominance? Like, it's only a matter of time where we're going to see Raquel Rodriguez get out of the shadow of Liv Morgan, and we're going to see a nice feud there. And you know what? Raquel Rodriguez definitely deserves to be a Women's World Champion. The turnaround that she had last year into this year has been simply incredible. She just looks like a weapon. She's a powerhouse. And they're booking her like one, and it's great. And I'm all for it. And, you know, the Elimination Chamber just showed that. It was a strong display from her. Like Liv Morgan last year, who had an incredible chamber, Raquel Rodriguez did the same. And so did Kiana James, to be fair. Alexa Bliss was quite disappointing in this one, I have to say. Like, I obviously think she wasn't going to win it, but it just felt as though she was like the ragdoll in this, and that was quite disappointing. We didn't see a Twisted Bliss. I think we did see setups for Sister Abigail, but not enough from her. And then for Tiffany Stratton, look, like, bland character for me. Like, she had a really good Tiffy time run, but now, like, nothing. It's very stale. Since she had that match with Charlotte Flair, she hasn't built from it. And I don't think fans are connecting with her either. So I did predict it because I didn't really see a path for anyone else. But then after, obviously, Rhea dropped the title, it made sense for her to win. And Rhea Ripley did get the victory there, defeating Tiffany Stratton at the end. The first elimination, I think, was Asuka and Alexa Bliss at the same time, followed by Kiana James, I believe. Or Kiana James was first, I don't know now. Then followed by Raquel, then Tiffany Stratton. So, yeah, Rhea Ripley going to WrestleMania, taking on Jade Cargill. So, that will be very interesting. I'm keen to see how Jade will go in ring and how the promo build-up will be, because these two have never had a program together. You've seen them being teased backstage, but we haven't seen that translated into a real program. So, they've got about just over a month to hype it up. So, I'm keen for that. And does that mean Rhea Ripley just goes on SmackDown now? I think so. I think
wouldn't make sense for them to be on Raw and do those promos. Obviously, being women's tag team champions, you kind of float between brands. So that was probably a reason why they did it. But yeah, let's see what happens. I will obviously be looking forward to that and seeing what will happen there. And then we get the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. And look, I think AJ Lee getting the victory made sense, given that it was in Chicago, given that she's tapped out Becky Lynch at War Games. And, she did really well. For someone that hasn't been in the ring in a solos match for so long, like they protected her real bad at War Games. She didn't really do much. And then, obviously, the mixed tag was cool. AJ Lee was really good. Becky Lynch, really good. I wasn't happy with how they built up this match. Again, I really wanted this to be at WrestleMania. But now that we still have this issue with Becky Lynch and Jessica Carr obviously being attacked, preventing Becky from using the exposed turnbuckle, which she ended up hitting her head on anyway, and that allowed AJ Lee to hit the Black Widow and tap her out. We may see some beef between Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch that we've been seeing, or else this might go to WrestleMania and we might see like a stipulation because, I don't think Becky Lynch is going to be happy with losing that match, and I think she's going to be really upset. She's going to call for a rematch, and that's where we have WrestleMania. And I think WrestleMania between these two, there has to be a stipulation if that's the case. You've got Maxine Dupree and Natty sort of floating around there as well. They have their feud, and obviously Natty threw Becky Lynch out of the Royal Rumble, so that's another thing to consider. That could be a multiple-man match or woman match, sorry. But I think this leads to Becky Lynch retaliating and them having a program now. And I hope that AJ Lee, now that she's champion, is more often on Raw and promoting herself up for WrestleMania. And I think her winning the belt, they obviously want AJ Lee to guarantee be at WrestleMania, and she's guaranteed going to be there defending that title. And that's why they've given it to her at this moment. And I'm not against it whatsoever. It's really cool to see AJ Lee have a title again. Every time I think about that Butterfly Divas title, it literally just reminds me of AJ Lee. So her being a champion again, I think she's going to do a great job. And now hopefully she just goes off the rails with her promos and just builds up a really good WrestleMania match to whoever she versus. I'm hoping it's Becky Lynch because I feel like we've got a lot more in that feud. And I think WrestleMania is a great way to sort of end it there. So we'll wait for that one. But otherwise, a really good display there. And, we'll look forward to WrestleMania for those two as well. And then we had the match between CM Punk and Finn Balor. We all knew CM Punk was going to win. The way he won was obviously quite underwhelming, but the match itself was really good. It just shows how good Finn Balor is in ring and how much he's sort of underrated and underutilized in WWE. And, that was just a basic showcase to show that Finn Balor can be up there and compete with the best. CM Punk being who he is, a fighting champion, battling in Chicago. And look, man, I'm a big NBA fan, so hearing the theme song, the Chicago Bulls theme song, Sirius, before CM Punk came out, awesome. That was really cool. And then obviously the Bulls announcer as well, announcing CM Punk. Just a great tribute to Chicago. And that's what I love about CM Punk. Like, you obviously hear about rappers, you hear about even like basketballers being very like in touch with where they came from and where they grow up. And no one does that better in wrestling than CM Punk. He's proud to be from Chicago. And I think that's something that I think needs to be more promoted within superstars, because you gotta like know your roots. And I think building up Chicago how CM Punk has done just makes every moment in Chicago significant. And every time WWE goes to Chicago, you just think about CM Punk. Like, Rhea Ripley does a really good job at it representing Australia. The internationals do a decent job. But in terms of the American stars, I'd love to see more people just put their city on the map like CM Punk does. And I can't fault it. I love it because every time CM Punk goes to Chicago, it's massive. And we had the sick announcement. We had a great in-ring entrance. And we had a great performance where CM Punk got the victory with the GDS. And that will put him on to the main event with Roman Reigns. Hopefully night 2 for his sake. But once again, another main event, which I'm really excited for. I hope Roman Reigns rocks up to Raw and just builds this up because, we're exciting. It's exciting. And look, Finn Balor loses here, but he's a good loser, shakes CM Punk's hand. And now I think we're going to get Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. a final potential Finn Balor face turn. And if they do give the title to Finn Balor, I think a really strong run for him where he can just show that he is up there with the main events. And I think we're in need of a few face turns. Like, we've seen heels happen for a long time, and I think Balor is next in line for that babyface turn, and I'm keen to see it. So, it was a great match. Obviously, we knew CM Punk was going to win it, and yeah, no complaints with the result there. And obviously, look, I could have bet my whole house and fortune on CM Punk winning, and I would have been so safe. So, yeah, we're happy with that. And then obviously before that, the stupid Danhausen entrance, we're not going to go on it again. That happened, the reveal, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what they do. A lot of people booing, rightly so. But we go into the main event, and that is the men's Elimination Chamber. Opened up by Mr. Whoop That Trick himself, Trick Williams, who, honestly, top 3 for me right now. He's one of my favorites. Just unbelievable entrance. Like, he's so over right now. Like, what does he do at WrestleMania is the real question. Maybe he takes on Sami Zayn. I don't know. Maybe we get a 6-man for the WWE Championship. We'll talk about the multi-man match. I don't think that will happen, but there definitely is not just going to be the winner of the Chamber and Drew McIntyre. I can tell you that 100%. But we have the men's Chamber, and look, to be honest, was quite underwhelming, quite boring. Not many spots. We had the Javon Evans splash, which was pretty impressive, but we've obviously seen better spots. The wrestling itself wasn't too good. We obviously had the botch from LA Knight. Look, he's done it multiple times. I think he's just got to put that move away or just keep working on it, because it's not the first time I've seen him botch that sort of. He's back on the apron. He tries to jump to the top turnbuckle backwards and then throw the elbow. It's a hard move to pull off. So it's impressive when he does it, but it's got such a high failure rate compared to other moves where sometimes I feel like he's got to get rid of it. But, it's a botch. Big deal. Like, everyone's trying to say, we should give him the same treatment as Jey Uso. But LA Knight's never won a world title. So, botches happen. Big deal. He adjusted pretty well. Stomp on Randy, then hit the elbow. Big deal. Didn't really affect anything too much. The move still was executed, not to the best, but otherwise still there. They made Logan Paul look really strong with 3 eliminations. Like, it happened so quick too. Like, the first 3 eliminations, making Logan Paul look like that, obviously that was going to definitely be Bronson Reed. But obviously after that, that's when shit started happening. We had another fraud mask man, which then allowed Seth Rollins to come into the ring, get the reveal. We were obviously waiting for Seth Rollins to come back. It just sucks because, it's to Logan Paul. Like, that would have been so much better to Bron Breakker, who should have been there. Then it would have been better to Bronson Reed, that should have been there. And then we end up getting Logan Paul. And look, Logan Paul, as much as he's done really good things, he's not Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. He's not at that level, and no one's going to take him seriously like that. So I'm not really excited for a potential Seth Rollins Logan Paul WrestleMania match. I've seen that. Maybe a 2-on-1 handicap could be interesting, where you have Austin Theory and Logan Paul taking on Seth Rollins. That I could sign up for. We haven't seen handicap matches in a very long time. So that could be something I would sit there and be like, finally. I can't remember the last time I've seen a handicap match. I think the last time I saw was when both Daniel Bryan and CM Punk took on the Wyatt family and the Shield. That was literally the last time. So I would be open for a handicap match. I'll be honest. That would be pretty sick. But that's probably the only way you could sort of make that match sort of interesting. A 1-on-1's not good enough. Bronson Reed would have been good. He's missing another WrestleMania, which honestly sucks for him. And, Bron Breakker we've spoken about. So, look, I think the Vision can recover because they still have the one person that can make this all work, and that is Paul Heyman. But yeah, we're excited for Seth Rollins' return, but it wasn't the return we expected and the person we wanted to cop the curb stomp and the elimination. So that happened, and then Drew McIntyre came in straight away. This happened so quick. I would have loved to see Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton go each other for a bit. Maybe they just want to tease that. That's why it happened so quick. And we all knew Drew McIntyre was going to come out. He ended up coming out. And, Randy Orton hit the RKO on Drew as he was attacking Cody Rhodes out of nowhere as normal. And then Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads. And as soon as he hit the crossroads, this is where I got excited. This is where I was happy. This is where the booking was good. We had an RKO out of nowhere to Cody Rhodes. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton is going to WrestleMania, and he wins the Elimination Chamber. And I'm more than happy about that. I'm glad I got it wrong. It was between him and Cody. I really thought they were going to go with the safe option for Cody Rhodes.
But I'm glad they've given it to Randy Orton. And now we know that Randy Orton has a clear path to WrestleMania. We just saw after the post-show that Nick Aldis called in a match with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. So we know that Cody Rhodes is going to be in this match. So we can 100% sit there and say this will be a multi-man match, and I'm all for it. Based on this storyline, based on how everything is going, I think a one-on-one match wouldn't have been good enough here. We wouldn't want to see another Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre match. We've already seen 3 of those. We've seen a few Randy Orton, Drew McIntyres. I don't think it's big enough to just have a WrestleMania there. And, Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre have gone one-on-one before, but I don't think Jacob Fatu is at the stardom level to get a main event match at WrestleMania with Drew McIntyre. So, having potentially all 4 of them, or at least 3 with Cody Rhodes, will be more exciting. And look, Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes. He's the face of the company. He's the quarterback at the moment. So, it just makes sense for him to be at WrestleMania fighting for the WWE Championship. And how he gets in, that's what we're going to find out. Maybe he wins the belt and he goes in as champion. I would much prefer Drew going in as champion, and I think that's what's going to happen. And, Jacob Fatu still is owed a match with Drew McIntyre. So he's been screwed over the chamber twice. So he needs his opportunity, and I'm sure he's going to be really filthy with the fact that Cody Rhodes got a match before he did. So this is going to be interesting. We don't know what's going to happen. It's leaning towards a fatal 4-way. How Randy Orton and Fatu get involved with each other is what I'm interested in, because they haven't really crossed paths yet. But otherwise, I'm happy with the fact that Randy won the chamber and how he won it, and it was a great booking. Like, in terms of the results, everything was great. Some of the matches were a bit underwhelming. The men's match wasn't good. It was, besides those surprises, it was looking to be one of the worst Elimination Chamber matches ever, even the women's side. So, they sort of recovered it with that, but it was very much predicated on those interferences rather than the match itself. And sometimes that's good, but you also want the Elimination Chamber match to be a match and not just full of distractions and storylines, which, I kind of feel like Elimination Chamber is going to that direction. Back way before, I feel as though when we had the Elimination Chamber, it was very focused on the people that were in the chamber, not the people outside. And, we've seen it twice now that Seth Rollins has made a massive impact in it and has costed, people opportunities to go to WrestleMania and fight for titles. So, we'll see what happens next year, but this year wasn't the best one, but it got recovered, I would say. But again, this has been your main event review, but majority of the time has been spent on the Elimination Chamber review as well, which I appreciate you guys listening to. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've got maybe 4 or 5 episodes until we hit WrestleMania. So we're ending the WWE season shortly. Another year of WrestleMania passing, which is, truly astonishing. But again, we'll continue on with main event. We'll try to obviously tune in with what's going on WWE Raw and SmackDown as much as we can, given that it is WrestleMania. We do want to touch up on little things. But I do appreciate you listening to this episode, and I'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.